So today we are going to talk about some basic data structures. So what comes into your mind when we talk about a term data structure? What do you think a data structure could be? Data and structure. Anyone? Yep, I know.
A list.
List?
Yeah.
Why list only?
Huh?
Why list? So suppose we are not talking in terms of Python.
Oh.
Or even, okay, so list. So how will you define list as a data structure to your colleagues?
I believe the order doesn't matter. I don't know.
What doesn't matter?
The order
The order.
of the elements in the list. I may be wrong. I'm not.
Yeah, but first of all, you need to define what is data structure. Stella, you have any comment on that?
A way to store your data.
Exactly. Stella?
I don't know.
No? What about anybody here? So just imagine like you're attending a lecture, suppose the computer science engineering, the same thing, introduction to computing in a big auditorium, and not only you guys but many other students are attending from different departments, from engineering, from finance, and from computer science. Okay, and if all the students are dispersed across the auditorium, and if you were given a task to count the number of students, let's say number of computer science students, would it be easier for you to count the number of students if all these students are dispersed across the auditorium? Would it be easier? Or would it be easier if you arrange all the students in a certain groups? For example, computer science students sitting, let's say, on the right side of the auditorium, engineering students are sitting on the left-hand side. Now that would make your job easier, okay? Because you will not have to go into different locations and start counting their heads, right? So the basic idea of data structure is structuring the data so that your algorithm can efficiently perform its task. Okay, so your algorithm may be efficient, whatever the code you write, but if the data is not organized, is not structured properly, then your algorithm may not work efficiently. Okay, the same example as I have just given you. It's counting the number of heads, number of students, CS students. If they are dispersed across auditorium, it may take longer to count the total number of students. If they are all arranged in a certain location, a certain group, then you can easily count them and faster. Okay? So data structure is a way of organizing data in a computer. It allows for the data to be efficiently used. We can access the data. Okay? So if any particular student from computer science group, I know where they are sitting, which part or which container or which group do they belong to. Okay? We can modify the data, we can add or remove, and some other operations we can perform. So in this course, we are only going to discuss the built-in data structures available in Python. Okay? In the next course that you would probably be taking, you would be developing your own data structure, the standard data structure, using the built-in data structures. Okay? So the first data structure that we are going to talk about is list, and this is what Hannah was talking about. And we are going to discuss the list basics, as same as I talked about functions, variables. So list is a data structure, is a container, which is an object that groups related objects together. Okay, so we can. So how would you prefer to write your code? So for example, if I give you a task to define, like declare or store the names of all the students enrolled in CSE 1010 course, would you be defining separate variables to hold the value of each student's name? What would you be doing? So if we have like 100 plus students enrolled in this course, would you be defining 100 variables? No, we would not be doing that. So we will be declaring our data structure called list here. So we can create a list with the students and we can store their names. Okay, like this. So whenever you see in Python program something like this, initialized with or declared as a square brackets, it is a clear indication that it's a list. Okay, it's a list data structure which contains different elements, and these elements may not necessarily have the same data type. Like in this example, all the elements are of a string data type. In this list instance, where we are defining ages, so multiple ages, it's up to the developer. So we may associate, hypothetically, that the first age belongs to the first element or first student in this list. Okay, so what I was saying is it may not necessarily that we have to have a same data type elements in the list. We can have different data types. Like I can also have an integer value in the same list. I can also have a floating point value in the same list declared as named students. Okay, so we can create a list with the help of square brackets. We can also create a list by declaring, like, let's say list A, B, C, D. So it's an iterable object that we pass into, and it creates a list with different different elements A, B, C, and D. The most common way of declaring a list is like this: the students equals whatever names you want, whatever values you want to specify in the list. So lists are useful for reducing the number of variables in a program, as I said, and any item inside the list is generally referred as an element. Okay? Any question here? You can also initialize a list, an empty list, without having any element in the list. And later on, as you proceed ahead in your code or process the data, you can keep on adding the new elements in the list. Okay? Now, how do we access the list elements?